In this video, we're going to make our dashboard come to life by adding charts. If your version of Excel doesn't support map charts, please make sure you've opened up the Add Charts to a Dashboard Alt workbook, as that will give you an alternative. The first chart we want to add to our dashboard is for global consumption. To get to the Consumption tab, we're going to come to our navigation buttons and right-click, and we're going to double-click Consumption. The chart has already been created for us, so I'm just going to select it, and of course we could copy-paste, but that ends up with a lot of duplicate charts in your workbook, so there is another option. We're going to come up to our Pivot Chart Design tab, and we're going to select Move Chart. This will allow you to move the chart into its own chart sheet or embed it in another worksheet. We'd like the embed option, so we're going to choose Object In, and we're going to scroll up and select Dashboard. When we click OK, it brings us to the dashboard, and now all we need to do is move that chart into place. The next one we're going to do is our renewable capacity by year. This is the pivot chart we created last week. So we're going to click into the capacity by year sheet, and this time we'll just copy paste. So select the chart, Control C, back to our dashboard, and Control V to paste. The formatting hasn't been done with this one yet, so a little bit of revision. We're going to start by coming to our Format ribbon, and we're going to set our Shape Fill to No Fill and our Shape Outline to No Outline. We'd also like to make our labels a little bit easier to read, so coming onto the Home tab, we're going to come to Font Color. The temptation is to go for bright, vivid white, but actually it's a good idea to make your labels a little more muted so that the chart detail stands out. So I'm going to go for a very pale shade of grey. Let's resize our chart. So I'm going to grab the resize handle, and I'm just going to make it to about just over half the size of the tile, and maybe bring it down a little bit. We don't need a chart title because we have a label on our tile, so I'm going to come to my chart elements, turn the chart title off, and while I'm here, I'm going to move the legend to top. Now just a few more tweaks we need to make. The axes aren't great, so I'm going to double click on my vertical axis, come to my axis options, and change my display units to thousands. Easier to read and ties in a little better with the chart below. The horizontal axis is also not very easy to read, so I'm going to select that, and we're going to come to our Size and Properties and change our text direction to be rotated. We also want to remove unnecessary clutter, so coming to my Fill and Line options, I'm going to set it to No Line. And if I click away now, that's looking quite nice. All right, we can close that Format Shape panel for now. The next chart we'd like to add is our capacity by region. And again, if you are working with a version that doesn't support map charts, can you please come to the Capacity by Region Alt tab, as that has an alternative we've already prepared for you. If you are working with a newer version of Excel, however, just come to the Capacity by Region, and what we'd like to do is create a map chart. As we said last week, there isn't the option to create a pivot chart map. But what we can do is use simple calculations to pull the pivot values into regular cells and then create any chart we like. And that's exactly what Rowan's done. I should just point out that he hasn't just said equals to A5. He's actually put an if statement to check if there actually is a value in A5. Because when we filter the data later, some of these cells may end up being empty. Map charts don't cope well with zeros in the country names. So we've just put a blank cell in there if it's not there. Now click into your data. We're going to come up to our Insert tab. We're going to come to Maps, and we're going to choose Filled Map. And there's our map chart. We're going to make a couple of changes to this one as well. So this time we'll use our Control-1 keyboard shortcut to open our Format Chart area. And we're going to come to Options and Properties. And we're going to click into the map area. And we're going to come to Series Options. And we're going to change our map projection to the Miller and our map area to only regions with data. And the reason for that is we'd like to be able to filter the data. So for example, if I filter to only show Eurasia. It filters the data and it filters the map. All right, I'm going to undo that change because we want the whole world for now. And let's copy that map, Control C, and come to our dashboard. We're going to paste it in on the right-hand side of our main tile. We don't want a chart title, so I'm going to turn that off. But we do need to change our formatting. So I'm going to come to the Format tab, and you'll see it's remembered my choices from last time. So I'm just going to click the left half of Shape Fill to say No Fill and No Outline. And we're just going to make this map a little bit wider, and we actually need to fit something underneath. So I'm just going to move that up a little bit. So it's looking really good. Now we have one last visualization we want to add in this video called a small multiple. Small multiples have become very fashionable in dashboards because they allow us to create a grid of many small charts, which lets us more easily compare data sets. What Rowan would like to be able to do is see how the distribution of renewable versus non-renewable capacity has changed over the years, and he wants to do this using a series of donut charts. The first donut chart has already been created, so I'm coming to the 2000 tab, but we still need one for 2010 and 2019, and we don't want to have to go through the process of creating and formatting those two as well. One of the other differences between pivot charts and normal charts is you can't just link them to a different data set. But fortunately, there is a nifty way around this. So I'm going to select my donut chart, and I'm going to copy, Control C, and I'm going to create a brand new workbook, Control N, and paste, Control V. That has actually unlinked the chart from the original pivot data, so something to be aware of, and it has converted it to a regular chart. I'm going to copy it again, Control C, Alt-Tab to go back to my workbook, and I'm going to come into the 2010 worksheet and paste that regular chart. Here's the great thing. If I want to link a regular chart to a pivot table, that I can do, and it's very easy. I come up to Chart Design, I come to Select Data, and I just click anywhere into the pivot. And when I say OK, not only does it link it, but it converts it to a pivot chart. Brilliant, let's do that again. So in my 2019 sheet, I'm going to paste, come up to Chart Design, click Select Data, click into my pivot, and say OK. Now I have lost a little bit of formatting, but I've got a little workaround for that one as well. So we're going to come back to our 2000 chart, and we're going to copy. Then we're going to come into 2010 and paste. And you'll see it just pastes the formatting. And same with 2019. All done. Really quick. We now need to put these three charts into our dashboard, but I'd like to avoid having to copy paste, and there's a great little efficiency tool here as well. We're going to come up to our Home tab, come to our clipboard group, and open the dialog launcher. This opens up the clipboard, and we can see the last thing we copied, which was our 2000 chart, and typically that's what the clipboard stores, the last thing we copied. But once you open it, you can actually copy multiple things to the clipboard. Let's have a look. So I'm going to come to my 2010 sheet, make sure my chart is selected, and Control C. And then the same with 2019, Control C. I now have all three on the clipboard, and I can go and paste all three at the same time. So I'm going to come back to my dashboard. And the only thing with this is you do need to be on a cell to do it, so you can't be clicked on your tile. So I'm just going to click somewhere in a cell next to my dashboard, and I'm going to select my 2000 chart first. Then I'm going to click on another blank cell and click my 2010, and then another blank cell and my 2019. There are my three charts. I'm going to use my Shift key to select them all, and I'm going to drag them into my dashboard. Then all I need to do is line them up. So I'm going to come to Shape Format, Align, and Align Left. And to label the charts, we're just going to use a text box. And here's one I prepared earlier. So if you just scroll to the left a little bit, you'll see a nice big text box, and you can actually just drag that on so that all the labels are positioned nicely over the charts. And you can spend a little bit of time making that look just right. Our dashboard is now really starting to come together, and in the next video we're going to finish off the other two panels by adding interactive infographics.